Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another coach video tip. My name's Dan Foster. I am the Chief Operating Officer here at Building Champions, as well as an executive coach. And today I have the privilege, once again, of speaking with one of our great executive coaches, Annette Pellinat. Annette, welcome. It is, as always, great to be with you.
Thank you, Dan. I'm excited to connect with you today.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, in this coach video tip, we're going to be talking about a really important topic and timely relevant topic, which is returning to work. I've been hearing a lot about this from a number of leaders that I am peers with, as well as from our coaches. And so I'm excited to learn more from you on this topic, Annette, to hear about what you're talking to your clients about, and for our audience just to be able to get a few tips on what they can do to lead really effectively when it comes to the topic of returning to work. So, are you ready to jump in?
I'm ready.
All
Yes,
right,
definitely.
great. Well, let's just start by kind of defining returning to work and why is this thing becoming such an important topic right now for leaders in that?
Yeah. So I'll just tweak our title a little bit. It's actually not returning to work because we've been working all along.
This is
It's
true. Yes.
yeah, right. So it's returning to the office, and
Okay.
it's a very topical area to focus on right now, because a lot of companies in 2024, they are going to be asking employees to return to the office.
Yes.
And you and I were talking previously, it's coming up in our executive coaching conversations. How can leaders help employees smoothly transition back into the office? So it's a timely discussion, I think.
It is. And what would you say are some of the emotions right now around this topic? Is everyone on board and excited, or are you seeing some hesitancy from folks?
Yeah, I would say definitely not everyone is on board. There are people who are definitely highly motivated to return to the office, and there are others that are not. And actually, as I was preparing for this, I was, reading some articles, and there's all kinds of statistics, but something like 61% of employees, when they're asked, are saying, I want to stay remote indefinitely.
Yeah.
So leaders need to think about that. And then, quite honestly, in my conversations with leaders who are dealing with maybe a corporate directive, everyone return to the office, maybe they need to also think about, okay, how do I feel about this? How can I get in alignment with this directive and make the transition smoother for my employees?
Great, great.
Yeah.
So what's causing this, Annette? Like, why is there a push now to return to the office? And because I got to be honest with you, like, I've actually really enjoyed working from home. And so I've struggled with this as a C-suite leader and thinking about what's our policy going to be. So help me understand kind of what's behind the drive to return to office.
Yeah. And, it's funny, Dan, because the last time we came together for a video blog, I was talking about how you can make working remote or hybrid highly successful. And I still believe in that. And I understand the rationale or reasons some organizations want to bring people back. So it's really about strengthening those social ties and, creating a feeling of connection. And the thought is really that if we do that well, we're able to have stronger communications, connect people to be able to collaborate, support the team bonds, and just create an environment that is conducive to psychological safety and engagement and productivity and ultimately retention. So there's a lot of good reasons from a corporate standpoint to think about this.
Yeah, absolutely. And all of those make absolute sense. I think you're absolutely right. I know talking to CEOs, like in our CEO roundtable that we do, and talking to other leaders that I have the privilege of working with, I know that sense of belonging has suffered just a little bit in the workplace. And we've been trying to figure out, how do we do it virtually? And I think we intuitively know it's just better to be in person sometimes, right? That just seems to help with the relationship and the connection. So you shared some great points around what's good for, why it's good for the employer or the enterprise, but what's in it for employees? Like, how should a leader be thinking about the benefits for their employees to return to the office?
Yeah, I mean, I think if I were contemplating going back into an office, one of the first things is it will help resolve any sense of isolation I might have been experiencing over the
Yeah.
last couple of years, because that
Mhm.
is definitely real. And then also just having greater ability to reach out to my leader or my teammates for feedback, input, that collaboration is everything.
Yes.
Um, and just also thinking about, if you're interested in career growth, having the opportunity to have greater levels of exposure and visibility within the organization can help
Yeah.
you find additional growth opportunities. So there's definitely a reason for returning from an employee standpoint as well.
Yeah, that's great. I love it. We were meeting with our leadership team just last week and we were in person, and we don't get to do that very often where everybody is like, yeah, I can be there. Let's go to the office. And it was great because we were sitting there and we pulled out the whiteboard. We were like drawing things, we were taking notes, everybody was standing up and coming over and adding, different thoughts that they had. And I just missed that collaboration. And as I was sitting there, just kind of watching everyone engage and the brainstorming that was happening, I was thinking about our conversation today that we were going to be recording. And I was like, this is huge. This
Yeah.
is why we need to be thinking about how do we get people back into the office. So that's great. So I know anytime we have change, I mean, it was a change to all of a sudden start working virtually, and we all have to figure that transition out. Now we're talking about another change coming, bringing people back to the office. What can leaders do to just make this transition smoother for their employees?
Yeah. So it's like leading any other type of change, right? It's connecting with the individuals and really starting those conversations, listening, really understanding where the employee is at,
Yeah.
um, explaining the rationale. I think people want to know the why. It
Yes.
shouldn't just be a directive, come back to the office, because that's the way we want it to be. But what's the rationale? What is the invitation? I
Yeah.
think that is
I love that. Yeah.
the first thing is really that connection and seeing the individual. And then also just really being a sensitive and having some empathy that this is
Mhm.
not going to be easy for everyone. And it's
Yep.
not, I mean, I know some leaders are saying, well, employees feel a sense of entitlement now that they can work from anywhere, right? Or,
Yeah.
not coming back to the office is optional. I think that people are well intentioned, but it's not entirely easy for employees to transition from working full-time home to now making a commute. That wasn't part
Yes.
of the factor for the last
Yeah.
3 years, right?
Yeah.
Uh, things have shifted and changed, and it's going to take some rebalancing. So being empathetic to the challenges, the real challenges that employees might face, even if they're highly motivated to come back to the office. So
Yeah.
those are some things I think that leaders
Great.
really need to think about.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's, you sort of mentioned this. It's shifting that narrative. Like if you have that narrative that says my employees are entitled,
Yeah.
they shouldn't think that they are just going to be able to get to do this for the rest of their careers. It's shifting that narrative to assume positive intent with your employees. Like they
Yeah.
didn't choose to all of a sudden say 99% of the workforce, we're all going to work from home now. That wasn't like, a choice. It was sort of forced
Right.
on them. So they had to adapt. They had to change their lives. They had to make changes in terms of their own personal schedules and how their homes functioned. I mean, we all went through this. I remember us having to have a conversation with one of my kids to say, I need you to move out of your bedroom and we're going to have you be in this bedroom now in this area so that
Yeah.
dad can have an office because he needs to have Zoom meetings now all of a sudden. And he can't
Right.
hear the blender going in the kitchen and he can't hear the dog barking. So
Yeah.
it was a lot of change for us. And so I think as leaders, we have to assume positive intent and just meet our employees where they're at, like you were saying, with empathy and
Right.
walk them through how the transition is going to go and that you're there
Yeah.
for them. So,
Yeah, I mean, 3 years, a lot can change. And I have clients who have had babies in that time frame. So now
Mhm.
you're thinking about, okay, now I need to have a different solution for childcare, right? And that's
Yeah.
something that didn't exist before you left. So there's a real it's very important to connect with the individual, understand their challenges.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's great.
yeah.
So bottom line, Annette, it sounds like what I'm hearing you say, it's about your communication, it's about listening. What else? Just bottom line, give us like your takeaway tips, if you will, for the person that's watching this today.
Yeah, definitely. It is connecting, sharing the why, helping people, make that smooth transition. I want to say a couple of other things really quick. When you
Yeah.
get back to the office, have it make sense, right?
Mhm.
Create some in-person rituals so that we can really
Great.
maximize that
Yeah.
connectedness, right? And so maybe you're hosting a catered lunch once a week from a local restaurant, right?
Yes.
Bring people together for pizza, whatever the case may be, but
Yeah.
create some rituals so that people are encouraged to create those social bonds and start connecting in a real way. And then maybe even consider opportunity for hybrid, right?
Okay. Yeah.
If once or twice a week people can work from home, support that if you
Yeah.
can.
So it doesn't have to be 100% right away. We're all back 5 days a
That's right.
week, 8 hours a day, you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. And then again, just modeling the way as a leader, be there, be visible, be connected, walk around the office and have casual conversations and really just maximize the time with employees now that you're
Yes.
back in the office. So it could be a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know, I'm in our offices today and I looked at my schedule and I purposefully made time in between appointments. Normally at home, I might go back to back, on meetings for a little bit. But I purposely, after every meeting, created about a 30-minute space where I could just do what you said, walk around, check in with
Yeah.
people, see how they're doing, what do they have going for the holidays, and just have that connection time. And I've heard a number of our coaches, including you, just kind of encouraging that. So that's wonderful. So
Right. Yeah, even though I'm big pro on working from home and being on Zoom, I miss the water cooler talk too. Those connections are really important and it's fun to be with your
yes,
teammates. So,
that's
yeah.
awesome. Wonderful. Well, thank you, Annette, once again for just another great video tip for our current clients and people that just love to follow our thought leadership. We really appreciate it. Hey, if you're watching today and you want to know more about how Annette works with leaders just like you on these strategic, sort of challenging issues and how she helps them navigate them for their organization or their small business, check out our website at buildingchampions.com and also connect with Annette on LinkedIn.
Mhm.
I know she'd love to have a conversation with you and see if it might be something where she could journey along with you on your leadership journey.
Mhm.
So, Annette, thank you once again. And
Thanks,
everyone,
Dan.
thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, take care.